My name was on the street. And we bounce from this here, I'm gonna go down in them corners, let them people know word did not get back to me. Let them know Marlo stepped to any motherfucker, Omar, Barksdale, whoever. My name is my name.
I was in there, I can't even, I don't even know the time, but I was in there for a while. And finally, he was like, okay, I'm gonna let you go. I walked out of the bathroom, I went to the bedroom, I picked up my dress. I don't even remember, it was so long ago. I don't even remember if I had my shoes or one shoe, whatever. And I left out of the door of, let me think. It was so long ago. No. I picked up my shoes. No, I put on my dress. I picked up a shoe or one shoe, I believe, at that night. And, oh, no. And then he said...
They're making it bigger than, they're making it so big now. Even the charges and what they're saying, it's bigger than who I am now, so.
What do you think they're doing this for? You were talking in the elevator. What do you think they're doing it for? Why they're doing this to you?
Because, the way this country is successful is if we have one set of rules and everybody follows them. If anybody gets outside of that set of rules and they're in a public view like I am, it's like detrimental to everybody following the rules if I'm representing to what they think is that I represent lawlessness and the outlaw mentality, and I represent that thug mentality from the street. So they feel like if they can punish me, then it'll punish people who are not as brave as I am, who don't speak out against things like me, who not scared to walk through the streets with no bodyguards. See, they need to put me in jail. These other guys, they don't have to put in jail because they can arrest them on smaller things. They can't arrest me on those small things. They got to frame me. They got to do things like this. They got to have 30 charges and none of them have to do with me. You know what I'm saying? How can you, if you really, while all these cameras are here, everybody got something to grow on. How am I going to forcibly do anything to a girl after she did it to me consensually? And that's not something I'm making up. That's what they said. They said that. The girl came to court and said she did this, she did that, she called my hotel, it was good. She said that, not me. Now, why am I going to force her? This is common sense.
Yo, what's that word, everybody? Hey, listen, I got some exclusive Tupac news to report on the blog. Yes, you all. I know Tupac died in the 90s, but this here is overly exclusive. So if you support independent media, because listen, you all, I am David here fighting against Goliath. So I need the people, you all. If you support independent media, smash that like button because this story needs to go viral. This story needs to go out to the masses because people need to know this. Now, listen, you all. 7 years ago, DJ Vlad interviewed a young lady that went by the name of Anaya Jackson. Now, for anybody that's been under a hip-hop rock, Anaya Jackson is the woman that accused Tupac Shakur of sexually assaulting her inside of a hotel room. It's been 7 years since I watched this interview. However, if my memory serves me correct, the narrative that was set up during this interview was that Tupac did not sexually assault the woman. However, he hid in a room while it was happening. So the narrative that DJ Vlad painted of Tupac Shakur during this interview was that of a coward. And when I heard the story, I was crushed because, Tupac was such a strong social justice warrior. Tupac was all about protecting the women and, making sure these black queens were protected. So, when Vlad painted him out a coward, I'm like, man, Pac, I can't believe you just let that happen to that woman like that. However, ladies and gentlemen, I use that term extremely loosely. This story gets a lot more interesting because I was looking at a subreddit Tupac account, and according to the subreddit, the woman that DJ Vlad interviewed is not even Anaya Jackson. You all, I was flabbergasted, I was befuddled, and I was bewildered when I read this post. I couldn't believe it. So check this out, you all. It goes, The real Anaya Jackson did not appear on DJ Vlad. Proof. Real photo of Anaya Jackson and court sketches. So they have a photo of Anaya Jackson and they have court sketches. So check this out. The real Anaya Jackson is the black woman with a bob haircut. The light-skinned woman is a fangirl who was with Tupac and Haitian Jack. All three were present the same night in 1993 at a party. These photos on the slideshow, the real Anaya Jackson, how she appeared in the official court sketches with the same bob haircut and pink shirt. 2. And the light-skinned woman posing as Anaya Jackson but actually was a fangirl and familiar with Haitian Jack. 3. It is this light-skinned girl that appeared on Vlad TV years later. Tupac was set up by the real Anaya Jackson after the woman was jealous that he was seeing another woman. Tupac highlighted this jealousy when he was questioned by the news outlet that asked about the situation of him being charged with guns and the accusations against him. You can hear Tupac in the full interview explaining that it's not a crime for him to be promiscuous. It is my belief that Tupac's rape allegations was part of a group smear campaign set up by an informant for the police. And if we look at the fact Tupac shot 2 off-duty cops on October 31st, 1993 and was arrested on allegations November 30th, 1993, shot 5 times November 30th, 1994, and Stretch killed November 30th, 1995. It's obvious all of this was facilitated by the snitch. The killing of Stretch was to prevent him from testifying who was the informant that set up Tupac. Tupac believed it was Haitian Jack since he was there when he was accused. He knew Jimmy Henchman who sent the people that put a hit out on him, and Stretch knew who he was. That's why he dissed him on Against All Odds. So Tupac was very intelligent and knew who shot him and who was working for the police so that they could smear his campaign. That's why Tupac was very adamant about revenge through music. He had nothing to do with Stretch's death, but all of these events were dated and calculated by an informant for the police to smear Tupac's campaign and potentially end his life. Since the dates are coincidentally happening back to back on November 30th, it's safe to assume they were planning to kill Tupac on November 30th, 1996, but he played them with the 7-day theory, September 7, 1996, September 14, 1996, the 14th being the day of his cremation.